Welcome to the West Report. Who could forget the distressing images of the tiny New South Wales town of Cobargo on the south coast, which had just been razed by the bushfires? Residents pleading with the Prime Minister for funding, asking why there are only 4 fire trucks. Michael West Media has done a 10-year analysis of the financial statements of the Rural Fire Service, the RFS. Now, these guys have done a fantastic job of combating the bushfires, no doubt about it, and the leadership from the federal government has been very poor. Better than New South Wales state government. But these numbers do tell a story and perhaps will shine some light on the destruction and the response from New South Wales firefighters. The firefighters themselves, of course, have done an absolutely terrific job in dreadful circumstances. But the fact is, overall, over 10 years, overall vehicles for fire brigades are down from 7,530 in 2010 to 6,288 in 2019. That's quite a sharp fall. There's also a trend towards using used and refurbished equipment as well. So there is a trend. Less vehicles for fire brigades, greater use proportionately of used vehicles. But the real mystery here surrounds the RFS budget, the budget for the fire brigades. Now, readers and people watching this video clip are welcome to write in and tell me their experiences, but I have very rarely seen a government department, let alone any department or division in private enterprise, underspend their budget. That is the point of a budget. Often, if you don't spend your budget, you don't get the budget next year. So even if there's no need to spend the budget, you spend the budget. In this case, the RFS, it appears, have been sitting on a giant cash pile of almost $110 million. So you've got to ask, why is that? Over the past 3 or 4 years, well under budget. 3 years in a row, well under budget. In the latest year, there was quite a bit of spending on a new headquarters. But does the shiny new headquarters make up for the falling appliances or fire trucks and pumpers and other equipment, communications vehicles and so on, all of which are down over the decade? So here we have the RFS sitting on a big pile of cash, which it hadn't been spending despite its stipulated budget, and we have a fall in firefighting equipment. Roughly the amount of volunteers, around 20,000, has been maintained at the same level over this decade. But there are 2 mysteries. One, the surplus cash, why it was not spent on firefighting equipment, and 2, this fall in actual equipment allocated to fire brigades. Now, we have put questions. We published the story, which you'll find on michaelwest.com.au. We put a number of detailed questions to both the office of David Elliott, who is the Minister for Emergency Services, who is now back from Paris and London. It's good to see David back after his holiday. And Gladys Berejiklian, the Premier, has done a great job. She has shown considerable leadership, but there's no response. They've had 3 days to respond now. The question must be asked, why? Why is the RFS not spending its budgets? And why are appliances down to fire brigades? Because at the same time, over the past decade, we've had rising population, we've had rising risk from climate change, which is quite obvious from the strength and the furor of these bushfires, and also there's been a build-up of fuel load on the ground. All these things should have been conducive to more spending, but instead it's less. So we're looking forward to a response from the Premier. Thank you. This is the West Report. For further information, go to michaelwest.com.au and you'll find all the numbers.